Hello everyone, my name is Skelehans and welcome to SkeleTales, a series where I tell stories about different things I like. Alright, without further ado, let's get into it. So today, I'll be reviewing Transformers 1, which at the time of this recording I just got home from watching. Small disclaimer, I am by no means a movie reviewer, as this will be the very first movie I will review, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on what I think is an amazing movie. So bear with me if I'm very new to this and all that. So the movie starts with Orion Pax, the guy on the right, sneaking into the archives room to learn about the planet Cybertron, which, in the basic detail, planet Cybertron was originally the Transformer god named Primus, who sacrificed his life in order to transform into the planet Cybertron. And within the core of the planet Cybertron is his spirit, basically. And with his spirit, after being transformed into a planet, gave birth to the first ever Transformers, better known as the Primes. Now, the Primes were in possession of an artifact called the Matrix of Leadership, which is a part of Primus himself manifested into a single artifact. But then the movie states that this Matrix of Leadership disappears after. Not, well, the movie doesn't reveal why it disappears yet. And then that's when we see Orion Pax. That's when we get introduced to Orion Pax's personality. That every legend about the Matrix of Leadership always ends like this. And thus, after him sneaking into the archives to learn more about the planet, he then gets caught by a drone, which alerted the two guards to come into his position and compromise him, and immediately starts into immediately starts into the humor of, "Hey guys, I'm just Orion Pax. I cannot transform," and stuff like that. So, and meaning that I can't transform, then let me just get a head start. Come on, guys, let's go. Come on, give me a head start. And the two guards of them, the two guards who cornered him, one of them being named Darkwing, was just saying, "Yeah, of course. Let's give this guy a head start. What could go wrong?" Something along those lines. And what immediately happens after was Orion Pax running out of the archives, jumping through a window, and then he's going through the trains and the planes or the hover things of Planet Iacon, and just escaping the two guards who were easily catching up to him because they transformed into aircrafts or jets and just chasing after him. They're just flying around, and Orion Pax is like running for his life and stuff like that. Until he gets cornered by the two guards. But when he gets cornered by the two guards, uh, a cart a cart bumps into them. And as the two guards turn around, we meet D16, the guy on the left, who is basically Megatron before Megatron, saying that, oh, D16 was apologizing that, "Oh my god, sir, I'm sorry, I bumped into you." And then Orion Pax suddenly disappears from behind the two guards because D16 actually hid him. And then D16 proceeds to misdirect the two guards on Orion Pax's whereabouts. As they board the Iacon train, we then see Orion Pax get out of the cart D16 was pushing. And then we learn about their friendly banter. The friendly banter between two bots in the mining section of Cybertron. And then we we then learn about the two main primes in this act, which is Megatronus Prime and Sentinel Prime. Sentinel Prime is the current leader of Iacon City. Basically, the poster boy of Iacon, the Transformers, because number one, he has the title of a Prime, and he is the one of the people who led Iacon to what it is today. Even though that the Matrix of Leadership disappeared, the flow of energon within the planet Cybertron has stopped, and to resume the flow of energon, they needed the Matrix of Leadership back. But as a temporary solution, the miners, Orion D16, they are mining energon in the mines. And then we then learn more about Sentinel Prime's leadership with Orion Pax going to the archives room with his reason being he wants to help Sentinel Prime find the lost matrix of leadership on the planet's surface, which of course D16 as a protocol follower just says that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous and that's a ridiculous idea from Orion Pax. But Orion Pax early in this movie is already saying about we can be something more. We can make a choice out of ourselves. Being optimistic as an Orion Pax. And then after that scene, we immediate I'm not exaggerating when I say immediately we learn about the Energon mines, which in their in their group, the leader was Elita One. Elita One is the one on my upper right, the pink robots, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. Yes, and then we learn about Elita was basically the captain of Orion and D16. At this point, B127 has not been introduced to us yet, so it's just them. It's just the three for now. So we then see the energon mines and how they typically function. When there's unstable energon, they need to evacuate the mines because the unstable energon will explode and will close up the mines, which we see Orion Pax rescuing a fellow miner who was trapped. The miner who was trapped was named Jazz, and he was he Orion Pax basically broke protocol along with D16 because D16 and Orion Pax are best friends. They have each other's backs. That's one of the themes of the movie. They're best friends. Is that they save Jazz and then they get scolded by Elite One saying that you shouldn't have broken protocol. Should have just gone back. And that whole spiel. But then the surprising twist in this movie is that instead of Orion Pax or D16 getting punished, it's basically Elita 1 who gets fired by Darkwing. Again, Darkwing, one of the guards who chased Orion Pax earlier in the movie. And with with Elita 1 being fired and going to waste management, Elita hates Orion Pax at this point because Elita was working towards a promotion to supervisor, and then she just says next time, and she just says to Orion, next time you wanna think about ruining someone's life, don't call me and don't talk to me. And, she was basically being bitter about being fired, and then immediately the next scene already again the pacing of this movie is very fast, but at the same time very understandable. It's a really good movie. I cannot stress it enough. Now, we then see Orion Pax and T16 in the minor dorms, where Sentinel basically broadcasts to the whole city of Iacon his latest failure in finding the Matrix. The failure in finding the Matrix, where he does the PR thing of this is not a failure, this is only a setback, not a failure. But I promise you all, we will find the Matrix of leadership and restore the flow of energy for our planet. Yeah, everyone cheers! Yay! Let's go, Central Prime, including D16 because D16's idol is Megatronus Prime and Sentinel Prime. Megatronus Prime being one of the first primes, and if you guys don't know want to know what Megatronus Prime looks like, think of him as for now, as the Decepticons logo. Yeah, the Decepticons logo is basically Megatronus. And then again, during Sentinel Prime's broadcast, he then announces no in the next day there will be no work for the miners since Iacon 5000 will happen. Iacon 5000 is basically a yearly race within Iacon City where anyone could participate. Even the miners, but they don't really participate because they're discriminated as being the weak Transformers bots. Next day, and I mean immediately, the next scene, Orion wakes up a sleeping D16 in the dorms to tell him on what if they participate in the Iacon 5000. to where D16 really does not want to participate in the race because, Orion Pax wants to be more than just the miner, and D16 just wants to follow protocol. So D16 immediately dismisses the idea. Immediately, the scene shifts to the next day. Iacon 5000 is starting, and Orion and D16 are walking towards the stadium where the race will start. However, Orion Pax just pulls D16 aside and just says, "Follow me." Yeah, yeah, yeah. The stadium is that way, but follow me, D16. Where they go to a place above the starting line of the race, where D16 was amazed that Orion basically carved a path through the innards of the stadium just so they can watch the race in the best seats. In the best seats, like a good bro. I mean, you got us the best seats, and we don't even and we see the action right in front of our eyes, and they fist bump, yeah, fist bump. And then as the race starts, Sentinel Prime announces the start of the race. Orion Pax puts on the jetpack in D16, and the scene from the trailer say with D16 saying, "Why'd you bring jetpacks?" Comes up, and after that scene, the race starts in 3, 2, 1, go. Where they were standing, the platform opens from below them, and they join the race. But they do have jetpacks, so they were keeping up with the racers. So the race starts and both Orion and D get seen by everyone in the cameras. And they were like, "Oh my God, there's two miners in the race. Dang." That was they look they're like, "Wow, they actually want to participate." So people are amazed while Orion and D16 are fighting for their life because in this race it does become brutal that people crash, people get knocked off track and stuff like that. So the race goes on with Orion and D16 surprising everyone with how they're able to keep up with the race until midway where they get slowed down. So midway through the race, they get slowed down and basically the announcer says, "Oh, the miners are now in last place. Now we get to see how the real race starts." So, basically degrading the miners more. But then then Orion Pax and D16 find a fan of some sort to launch them ahead of the race. This fan was so powerful that it launched them up to the top tens, where they maneuvered their way past the competition, including Darkwing, again, Darkwing, the guard, who tried to arrest Orion earlier. And then, while they're in the top tens, a magnet ring shows up at the front of the track, which trapped bot some transformers. But then Orion and D16 find the timing of the magnet and manage to run through it. Orion and D16 see the finish line. They were in the lead at this point. Yeah, they took the first place spot at this part of the race. So they see the finish line. The finish line is in sight until D16 gets stripped and Orion carries him by shoulder saying, we do this together." Some more brotherly love type type things where and then while Orion was carrying D16 on his shoulder, the a transformer zooms through them. Well, the transformer knocks them both. They knock them both to the ground, and then wins the race. And by that time, Orion Pax was like saying, "Well, at least second place isn't half bad." But then every other transformer who wasn't injured in the race got past them. So they're last place, but not technically because the other transformers are basically stuck behind them. But they're basically last place from all the active racers. After that, the scene cuts or the scene shifts into the med bay area. Or it happened the race. They show up to the medical bay where Orion tries to light up the mood, but D16 on the other hand is annoyed that they did all of that just to lose. And understandably too, they risk their lives just to lose and still be discriminated as minors. Now, but D16 is also annoyed that he got embarrassed in front of his idol, Sentinel Prime, showing annoyance at how he got embarrassed while his idol was watching. And then the scene from the trailer of Orion and D16 in the medical bay, like, I'm not talking to you. That scene plays out. And then suddenly, this spider, the spider-like transformer comes into the med bay, looks at them with her her tens and millions of eyes, and I mean a lot of eyes. Even on her sides, there were eyes. And then she suddenly says, "All clear." So as a movie watch, as part of the audience, I was like, what do you mean all clear?" After she says that, it was Sentinel Prime. Sentinel Prime came to D16 and Orion's medbay area, and they were the only ones there. So Orion, D16, the Spider Lady Transformer, and then Sentinel Prime. He shows up and praises both Orion and D16 for motivating the miners to do more work. He says something like, "The miners are now at 150% more active rate because of your performance in the race." Giving like he's praising both of them by like saying, "Oh my God, you two as miners, you actually did something. Wow." That kind of praise. And then all the while making both Orion Pax and D16 very so happy that they basically set an example that miners can do more than just go on the Energon mines. Sentinel once again applauds them and invites them to his personal luxury where he insinuates that the three of them will be hanging out together and be buddy buddy. You know, D16 meeting his hero and Orion Pax getting the step up he wants in life. And then after that whole debacle, Sentinel Prime and the Spider Lady leaves. Like Sentinel Prime says something like, "I'll see you legends later." That kind of that kind of thing. And while D16 and Orion Pax were left pondering and fist bumping each other. Oh my God, we did so well, and that thing. We see again Darkwing enter their medbay area. It's like Darkwing was mad at them, but to their dismay, once both Sentinel and Spider-Bot Lady leave, Darkwing, and he's mad at both of them. He immediately grabs them and throws them down to the hidden sub-levels the Iacon population didn't know about. So by hidden sub-levels, there's the Iacon ground floor, and then they get sent to basically negative floor 50, negative 50, 50th floor. And when they find out that they were in negative 50th floor because uh when they get dropped into sub level 50, they see a scary looking transformer with a mask. Like this transformer has a visor for a mask, and this transformer charges at them, effectively terrifying both of them. But then is revealed to be B127. B127 was the transformer in the mask, wearing the mask on sub-level 50. Now, again, B127 is the guy on my upper left. That's Bumblebee before Bumblebee. Okay, so the trailer scene plays out like, "Oh, I'm B127, but you can call me B. But you can call me by this other nickname, but that goes like Balasatron, or it goes like Balasatron." Yeah, that scene. B127, as we learn, was trapped for a very long time in sub-level 50. That he hasn't had company in years, as his only job is to salvage any scrap worth before they get into the furnace. So there was a conveyor belt in sub-level 50 where all the scrap get thrown into, and the furnace is literally at the end of the corridor. That's how cramped sub-level 50 was. Okay. Uh, his only job was to salvage any scrap worth before they get into the furnace. Yikes. Pretty lonely life. So much so that B127 introduces D16 and Orion Pax to his friends. He's B built, like B127 built these friends, and one of them. Okay, here's an Easter egg to those who don't know. B127 is voiced by Keegan Michael Key, Key from Key and Peele, and one of B127's friends was called A-Tron, which is in reference to Aaron in the Key and Peele substitute teacher skit. So when I heard that, I was laughing in my seat because I got that reference. The person who I was with probably did not get that reference. Anyways, uh, onto the plot. One of B's friends, who he named Steve, B127 had three built friends. One of them, Aaron. The other guy, I forgot the name, and the important one named Steve. Steve was glowing. His face, the part that was his head was glowing, and Orion Pax, trying to investigate the glowing part of Steve's head, accidentally kills, quote unquote, kills Steve by removing the head, and by opening the head, they see a recorded message from Alpha Trion. Alpha Trion is one of the original primes said in the beginning of this movie. Now, Alpha Trion, one of the great primes, requesting for backup and then disclosing his location with the other primes. So it was a recorded message saying from Alpha Trion saying, "We need backup. I will send the coordinates. I was sending coordinates to you." And it then displays a map of the planet Cybertron to where they were at the time or where the message was transceived. Then requesting for backup and disclosing his location within the other primes. D is once again annoyed that all this started because Orion couldn't just follow protocol, which Orion counters with, this is their chance to make a choice and help their world become better. They'll help find the matrix of leadership. But then D16 refuses to listen and just turns away, scoffing at Orion and then of course B, who is in the room with them. After that, Orion starts taunting D16 that what if the Matrix was out there? And what if you would be the one to give it to Sentinel Prime, your idol? And then D16 just responds with, I know what you're doing, and it's working. So D16 eventually gets baited and asks B127 how to get out of the sub-level 50. B127 does know a way, but it will not be easy because this the only way out is through the trash chute where scrap metal falls. Yeah, they climbed up there with 50 sub levels. Like they went through 50 sub levels by climbing that. And but that wasn't an important plot point. That was just a funny scene where we see the three of them climbing up the trash chute and then immediately skips to Ayakon City. So immediately the next scene after that with them climbing up the trash chute, we see a loading bay where we're back in Iacon City. We see bots loading crates into a train that leads to the surface. Orion, D16, and B127 sneak into the train cart through a sunroof in the train cart and hides behind some crates. So some workers are loading crates into a train cart, but then Orion, B, and D16 enter through a sunroof and hide behind the crates. Unfortunately, Elita 1 is the last person to load a crate into the train. So, as a reminder, Elita 1 got fired earlier in the mines when Orion Pax D16 rescued this robot Jazz from the mines. And Elita 1 was the last person to load a crate into the train cart. But then she looks at the sunroof and it was open. The sunroof was open. She immediately knew someone was in the cart and acts very smug, saying that, you're a good thing that you're so stupid. Like I know you're here and stuff. That tone, that kind of tone. Eventually finding Orion and the other two, as she tries and runs out to warn the other workers to sound the alarm because there were intruders in the train. Bad news for her, the train cart immediately closes. It closes and it's basically another chase scene happens. Like immediately the chase scene happens after the train cart closes. There's no exposition or anything. It's just chase scene happens, where Elita runs away from the three guys, and the three guys are forced to chase her to convince her to not tell the guards that they're in the train. So they lead to the train cart door. Eventually, in the chase, the the train cart, the sunroof opens again, where Elita is trying to escape from the tree because the three guys are chasing her, in order to convince her to not tell the guards, or to not reroute the train to go back to the city of Iacon. Because at this point, the the train does not obey the laws of physics, so it goes upside down, goes side to side, it goes vertical. So, and the transformers inside these four bots don't have anti-gravity shoes, so like they're holding on for dear life, just they don't fall in within and outside the train. So that was a fun scene in my opinion. So where the four characters eventually end up at the top of the Iacon train, and Orion Pax does eventually catch up to Elita 1. And once Elita 1 is about to punch Orion to knock him out, they get to the surface. So this picture, this background that I'm using, that's basically the surface of Cybertron, and they see these four see it for the first time, and it's like it's beautiful. Wow, they're mesmerized by it. They get mesmerized on how beautiful it looks, and it even shows that the even shows us, the audience, that there are wildlife in the planet Cybertron, which is funny because robot deers. There's literally robot deers in this movie. Then we get to a scene in the trailer which shows the next scene that plays out after they get to the surface is this exact scene that I use as a background right now, which shows Cybertron surface changing. So the landscape changes constantly, and it's coming closer towards the train, where the four characters run away, but they eventually get overwhelmed by the changing landscape. So it basically cuts to black when it shows that the four characters get knocked off the train and get knocked out. Next scene, Orion then wakes up Elita, but then has her infuriated that they basically lost the train because the train got back on track, while the four characters, well, they got stuck. They got thrown overboard and got stuck in on the surface of Cybertron, where but then Orion shows her the coordinates that Alpha Trion Prime has given them. The map. Orion shows Elita the map, and Elita 1 then agrees to come with them on one condition, that she is the one who navigates through the map. So she basically takes the map from Orion Pax and then starts to navigate the team. And then the scene after that is a mini montage where we get to see the Cybertronian landscape, like different sites of the planet Cybertron. And of course, B127, being the talkative person that he is, he's like Donkey from Shrek. Like, oh my God, here's this. Oh my God, here's that. Oh, we're in the surface. Yay, let's go. We're in the surface. That type of personality. So, but then of some. They encounter a ship of some kind that has a scanner, and they're basically forced to run away from the scanner because they saw that when a deer got scanned by the ship, the deer got blasted. Like the deer got pew explosion. Yeah. And immediately they run away from the scanner with Orion Pax and B127 almost getting scanned by the ship, but they managed to avoid it by hiding under some cover. And then after that, they escape the area and then they basically they I'm not joking. Again, when I say the pacing of this movie is fast, immediately after that scene, we get introduced to the cave where in the trailer, the cave with teeth. That's not scary at all, says B127. So this cave was where the map was leading. The map was leading them to this cave, where they see once they enter the cave, they see basically the dead bodies of the different primes. Like, imagine your hero, the hero, the primes, all laid out in the on the floor, and their their corpse, their dead bodies there. Their dead bodies are there, and there's moss and grass all over them, like signifying that they've been dead for a long, long time. Okay, so they look around. D16 finds Megatronus. So, Megatronus being his idol prime next to Sentinel. Well, no, Megatronus is his number one idol. Then the second one is Sentinel Prime. That type. That's his ranking basically. And he sees Megatronus's dead body, so he kneels down and he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. My hero is dead." Yeah, dang. And then he touches the helmet of Megatronus Prime. And then Orion Pack sees one of the primes. One of the primes has his spark, the spark in his chest. It's still alive. It's still blinking, meaning that's like the heartbeat, right? That's the heartbeat of Transformers. Which then B127 gives him a small piece of energon. Gives Orion Pax a small piece of energon, to which Orion Pax basically feeds it to the transformer with the spark, with the blinking spark. Now the transformer then wakes up and is revealed to be Alpha Trion Prime, which is Alpha Trion Prime again is the prime who sent them the message. Yes, Alpha Trion is the prime that sent the map and the message to the transmission. The one that Alita has it right now. But yes, they meet Alpha Trion, which then of course the four characters are amazed. Oh my God! Oh wow! It's one of the primes. Wow! And then when they suddenly bring up Sentinel Prime's name, Alpha Trion smacks the ground and reveals that Sentinel is no prime type deal. So it's a plot twist basically, because uh, Alpha Trion then reveals that Sentinel Prime was no prime. He was only a mere advisor for the primes, and Sentinel Prime basically called the no, Sentinel, just Sentinel, sorry. He's at this point he's just Sentinel now. He's no prime. Sentinel, the advisor, calls the primes to a secluded location. The location is the cave that they're currently in right now. So Sentinel calls them to this cave. So Sentinel is with them, with all of the other primes, saying that there's a quintession base. Quintessons are basically another enemy within the Cybertron universe. The quintessons are basically it's a step for freeing the planet from the invaders, basically the quintessons. So when that story gets told to them, it's then revealed that while the primes got ambushed, so the primes got ambushed, but they were fighting back, and just as they were about to win, a sentinel, the advisor, starts stabbing the primes, killing them one by one, showing his betrayal, and then uh, yeah, Sentinel starts with killing the primes, betraying them, and then we slowly see one of the primes, namely Zeta Prime, has the matrix of leadership in his chest. So he's basically the one who was chosen by Primus, the Transformer God, to to possess the matrix of leadership at that time. And so Sentinel kills Zeta Prime and opens up Zeta Prime's chest. But when he got the matrix of leadership in his hands, the matrix disappears. Basically, it's a callback to the first scene of the movie, well, to the beginning of the movie where the matrix disappears for no reason. The reason why the matrix disappears is revealed. It's because the Matrix can only be wielded by someone who is chosen by Primus himself. If you're not worthy, you're not allowed to touch the Matrix of leadership. So when Sentinel grabs the matrix of leadership out of Zeta Prime's chest, the matrix disappeared. And that was the end of Alpha Trion's story, or Alpha Trion's truth against Sentinel Prime. Now, moving on, that's the plot twist basically. That's the plot twist of the movie. Sentinel was a bad person, was not a Prime, and basically lied to everyone. So, at first, the four characters could not believe that Sentinel Prime was their Sentinel quote unquote Prime would do such a thing. So the movie immediately cuts to Sentinel Prime. Uh, well, not immediately cuts. They see Sentinel Prime arriving to the surface, where the basically the mothership of the Quintessence, their enemies, the Quintessence mothership was in front of Sentinel Prime and his troops, and it showed that the train they were on, the Iacon train, was behind them, and it was then revealed that uh, Sentinel Prime was giving the energon that they mine to their enemy. So, if you know the movie A Bug's Life, that's basically what happens. Though. So the Transformers mine energon, the miners mine energon endlessly for almost every day, just so Sentinel Prime could give the energon to the enemy. But before that, Alita did say that she thought that the crates were loaded with toxic waste, basically toxic energy. But then it was revealed to be actual energon, which is their life force, basically. The energon. And then after that, we then see D16. Basically, his face shows like disdain, like rage, not even sadness. It's just pure anger. His descent to madness, because we know, as Transformers fans, we know what's how it's gonna end, and he's showing his dark side. Basically, D16 is going to the dark side, basically. So after that scene with Sentinel Prime and the Quintessence basically, uh Sentinel Prime worships the Quintessence, so he's a he's a slave. Uh, Sentinel Prime is a slave to the Quintessence, and everyone else in Iacon City is a slave to Sentinel Prime because he's been lying all this time. So after that, Alpha Trion, the four characters go back to Alpha Trion now that they know the truth. Alpha Trion Prime gives Orion Pax truth, a message, the flashback basically. He has how there was a message from Alpha Trion earlier in this movie. He basically has that, but instead of a message, it's just his memories of his friends of the Primes dying. And when he gives that to Orion Pax, he sends them off because other I don't remember if it was Quintessence or if it was Sentinel's troops have found them, and basically Alpha Trion has to defend the four characters running while fighting the enemies that just showed up. So Orion Pax says something like, "We can't just leave you behind." But Alpha Trion was like, "This your fight will come, but this is my fight," which is so badass. I love that scene. It's just a cool scene. Okay, it's just a cool scene. I like it a lot. So this is where we see the scene in the trailer plays out where the four characters are trying to transform because they were given the cogs basically, uh, the holes in their chests. They got the cogs from the previous primes. The dead corpses of the primes had cogs in them, and it was revealed also that the reason why there are miners with no cogs is that Sentinel Prime, before the newborn transformers get online, he removes the cogs within them so that they don't transform. So basically, Sentinel Prime was making slaves. Okay, Sentinel Prime was making newborn slaves, which is really, really messed up. So, for a supposed kids movie, that happens? Wow. At this point, I'm a little shocked. So, Alpha Trion Prime gives the four characters a cogwheel so that they can transform. So, uh, both their transformations. D16 is a tank. Uh, Orion Pax is a truck. B127 is a car, and Elita 1 is a motorcycle. So they each have a different transformation. So they escape the enemies, but then we do see a glimpse of D16 being more bloodlust, having more bloodlust that he wants Sentinel Prime dead. He wants to kill him, and it's a healthy way of showing the audience of D16's descent into Megatron, because not everyone knows how Megatron came to be Megatron, but in this movie you actually see the betrayal in D16's eyes on how his idol Sentinel Prime was basically lying to him all his life. That hurts. That hurts in the heart. Okay. Okay. So now their journey back to Iacon City starts, where another healthy way to show that D16's descent into madness is that Orion Pax is trying to lead or to navigate the team to back to Iacon City. But then D16 just straight up snatches the map from Orion Pax, saying that I got this. That threatening aura. And like Orion Pax is looking at him like, what the hell? What's happening to my bro? And what's happening to my friend? Because he's never like this. If I were to compare it to a recent form of media, it's like Spider-Man, Peter Parker, with a black suit for the first time. That's how aggressive he was to his. That's how D16 was aggressive to Orion Pax. So that was certainly surprising to every character in the movie. Okay. And then on the way back to Iacon City, they got captured. These four Transformers were knocked out. They were shocked, like literal shocked into knocked out. And then they got captured. And the ones who captured them were known as the High Guard. The High Guard was they were basically the guardians of Iacon, the warriors of Iacon, but then turned into a resistance. They are now a resistance against Sentinel Prime because they know about Sentinel Prime. They know the truth about Sentinel Prime. Okay, so what happens is that who is part of the High Guard? The High Guard is the Decepticons before being Decepticons. So the characters mainly introduced there were Shockwave, Soundwave, and Starscream. And while while they're out hiding, the movie explains to it like they fight from the shadows type situation where when D16 heard that from Starscream, fights from the shadows, he basically immediately challenges Starscream's authority. Uh, well, it's another scene that shows the change in D16's heart, where he almost kills Starscream by fighting him, and then we see uh, we see the concern within Orion, Elita, and B127's eyes, saying, "Oh my God, he's not showing any mercy." And D16 did almost kill Starscream, by the way. He almost pulled the trigger on his cannon, his arm cannon, and almost killed Starscream. And thus began the classic relationship of the Megatron and the Starscream dynamic, where Megatron is definitely the more ruthless one, and Starscream is the coward. Okay. After that, um, we then look at. Oh, okay. After that scene, Sentinel's troops, the Spider Bot lady who is basically Sentinel Prime's right hand woman, finds the High Guard base and captures, let's just say for the sake of exaggeration, just half of the High Guard, and From the four characters from the four main cast, the ones captured were D16 and B127, leaving Elita 1 and Orion Pax back in the destroyed High Guard base. So after the two of them got captured, and the half of the High Guard got captured by Spider-Bot and Sentinel Prime's troops, we then see the scene of Elita waking up Orion Pax, and Orion Pax regretting the journey to the surface. Like, I should have just followed protocol, and this wouldn't have happened. And then Elita One basically just gave Orion Pax a pep talk, saying, "We can do this. We can change. We can change." Your optimism is what helps change the world. That kind of motivational speech to Orion Pax, and it does work. He does gain the confidence back, and then uh, after that, the remaining high guards. So the remaining high guards that were not captured include Soundwave and Shockwave. Starscream was also captured by Sentinel Prime's troops, and what happens then is that Orion Pax, Elita One, and the High Guard team up to invade Iacon Tower. Iacon Tower is basically Sentinel Prime's tower. His castle, and they're now the Orion, Elita, and the High Guard are now making a plan of attack to breach the tower and put an expose Sentinel Prime for the fraud he is. All the while that's happening, so they're all making a plan of attack to the Iacon Tower. We then see the captured people in Iacon Tower, where D16, B127, Starscream, and the rest of the other High Guards who were captured were there. And of course, Sentinel Prime was there. He's the bad guy now. Okay, Sentinel Prime's the bad guy now, saying that he's a it's the movie portrays him very well as a this guy who just yeah the wa- the movie portrays Sentinel Prime that if you know his secret, he's like the biggest jerk in the whole world. That's how the movie portrays him. The classic trope, but it's a useful trope, especially in this movie. So D16 then D16 basically stands up for himself and does not want to kneel to Sentinel Prime. But then Sentinel Prime, you can see the okay to give you guys a visual. Again, this is a spoiler review, so we're already far into this. Spoilers are out the table now. This is a spoiler review. So this part right here in D16 shoulder, that's the Megatronus face. What what Sentinel Prime ends up doing is that he removes that sticker of D16 soldier and send it. He basically welds it into D16's chest. He welds it like he burns it in the marks of Megatronus's face on D16's chest, like the Decepticon logo on his chest. So foreshadowing, but we know what's really happening. So foreshadowing. So what happens next after that is that Orion Pax now goes to the minor dorms. So where originally him and D16 were stationed at the time at the beginning of the movie, and he goes to the miners and tells them the truth about Sentinel Prime. So here's the first glimpse. Oh, here's the official first glimpse we see of Optimus Prime, where he leads the miners to it's not about the to attack or to rebel against Sentinel Prime, and he assures them that even though the miners can't transform, they have the power to fight fight the good fight and change their world for the better. The motivational speeches Optimus Prime gives, we see a glimpse of that in Orion Pax in this next scene. So you know, as a viewer, as a as the watcher at the time, I know how it's gonna end, but seeing it unfold in front of my eyes was so great. It was so great. Then after that scene of the motivational Orion Pax speech, the Iacon Tower breach starts. So they attack the tower, where in the tower, Soundwave frees all the captives. They crash the Iacon train. So the Iacon train that they're on in this image, the Iacon train, Elita One manages to hack a train and reroutes it so that it crashes towards the Iacon tower. So they literally broke through the Iacon tower with the train. So if you watch the movie, you'll know what I mean. It was a cool scene, epic scene even. And once they reach Iacon Tower, D16 was freed, and Orion Pax goes to check on him like, "Hey buddy, are you alright?" But then D16 was just like, "I'm fine. Where's Sentinel Prime?" But then Sentinel Prime blasts some debris away and shows his basically his true power. I say true power. He just puts on his battle mask and his jetpack and his weapons. He loads all his weapons and missiles and launches them within the vicinity, effectively killing some transformers and making them go for cover. And then after that Sentinel's true power scene, we see D16. Yeah, D16 is now really, really angry, and he's furious. He just wants to kill Sentinel Prime, so he goes for it. And all the while, Orion Pax, B127, Elita, and the rest of the High Guard are they're fighting for what they stand for. Big robots fighting each other. That's how I can describe it. And then after that, remember the spider bot lady that I've been mentioning this whole time? What they do is that Orion, Elita, and B127 needed the memories of the spider bot lady and go to the intercom, basically the place where Sentinel Prime gets broadcasted, and they show the spider bot lady's memories of Sentinel Prime basically lying to everyone. So they expose there we go. That's the word I'm looking for. They expose Sentinel Prime for the fraud he is, and you know at this point Sentinel Prime has been proven to be a fraud, and everyone hates him now. So what happens next is that after Sentinel Prime gets exposed, D16 again being his descent into madness, just him and Sentinel Prime just start fighting. You just keep fighting, big robots beating each other up. Epic, very epic. But then at one point, uh Sentinel Prime gets knocked down. He's limping. He's trying to beg for mercy on D16, and Orion Pax just steps in and pushes the cannon away from Sentinel Prime, like saying to D16, D, it's over. We don't have to do this anymore. But D16 does at this point D16 does not care. So he tries shooting Sentinel Prime again and ends up and Orion Pax goes in front of the blast, effectively shooting half of his torso out. So, Orion Pax is dying at this point, and Orion Pax falls over and then is starting to fall down the tower that they were on. But then D16 grabs him for the last time, and it was a very it was a very quick scene. But I got a little sad at it. But we see Orion Pax dying. That uh, D16 was holding Orion Pax's hand while perched at the top of the tower. So if he lets go, Orion Pax is gone. Basically, he falls down to the planet's core, the abyss. And it's like, why did you? And then the scene starts out like uh, D16 looks at Orion Pax saying, "Why did you do that?" And, he basically he killed his friend, and he's showing regret in his eyes. And then we see Orion Pax's weakened state. He's like saying, "D, no, like, don't descend into madness." But he didn't not say, "Don't descend into madness." It's literally just like, "D, no." And then we see, you know what, I love this next scene because we see D16's face. You see his eyes in this image. It's yellow, but in this scene, his face that he's fighting in his head like, do I save my friend or do I kill Sentinel Prime? And what ends up happening is that his yellow eyes turn to red eyes, and he says, "I'm done saving you." Yeah, I'm done saving you, and let's go of Orion Pax's arm, effectively sending Orion Pax to the abyss. And at that, and you know, I couldn't. I was silent in the theater, but you know that lingering feeling that, oh my God, that actually just happened. The fact that just happened in front of my eyes, I was so amazed. Like, dang, this movie is hitting me in the feels right now. Even though I know what the ending is gonna be, it's hitting me in the feels. So while this scene plays out, Orion Pax is falling down to the abyss, to the Cybertron's core, and we see D16 beating the crap out of Sentinel Prime and giving speeches to the people of Iacon saying, uh, don't if follow me if you do not want to be deceived ever again. Like she's starting the Decepticons basically. So at this point, I'll be calling D16 Megatron because, like I said, his yellow eyes become red, and he's merciless at this point. So two scenes start happening at the same time uh, in this next part. So we see uh, Orion Pax. He goes to the core of the planet and is greeted by the spirit of the Primes. While the other hand, Megatron is basically killing or ripping Sentinel Prime's body in half, signifying that uh, he won. Basically, Megatron won the fight. And it was then, oh yeah, it was also revealed earlier that Megatronus's cog, like the thing in the chest, not the Allspark, but the cog that lets them transform. Sentinel Prime took Megatronus Prime's cogwheel, which then what after Megatron kills Sentinel Prime, Megatron takes the cogwheel from Sentinel Prime's chest, effectively putting it onto his chest and saying that I am Megatron. You know that part. And while that is happening, we then cut to Orion Pax getting greeted by all the primes, including Alpha Trion Prime, who died earlier. Um, Alpha Trion, which is basically Primus accepts the you for as his basically how do I word this? They give the Primus gives the matrix of leadership to Orion Pax, effectively transforming him into the beloved Optimus Prime. Uh, Okay, so yeah, Orion Pax becomes Optimus Prime, D16 becomes Megatron. That was the end of that scene. So the how do I say it? It reminds me of how in Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, like uh Anakin becomes Darth Vader, that type of vibe. That's the vibe I got from both D16 and Orion turning into the beloved characters of Megatron and Optimus Prime. And if you guys remember from their trailer, uh, what happens next is that Optimus Prime then shoots out of the ground while Megatron is preaching to the people of Iacon, like, yeah, yeah, we are leading this world into a better world. Yeah, rad. Yeah, Megatron is now preaching to his people that he they won. He won basically. So he wants to be the new leader of Iacon. Wants to lead the new people to the better world. But then the the goat the goat arrives and slams down. Oh my God, the aura! Look at my goat, the aura! There's Optimus Prime right there. So Optimus Prime arrives, and then Megatron sees the Matrix of Leadership in Optimus's chest, and he's like, Primus gave you the Matrix of Leadership? And, like, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that he didn't get the Matrix of Leadership, despite he was the one who won the fight, or he was the one who killed the traitor Sentinel Prime. So Optimus Prime arrives. They have their big battle. This whole action sequence of them fighting, it was so awesome, and it basically showcases Optimus Prime and his weapon arsenal, as well as the new arsenal of Megatron because as I said, he took the cogwheel of Megatronus from Sentinel Prime and put it onto his chest. So he's now a more enhanced version of Megatron. So what happens then was that one of the greater action sequences I've seen in a movie. So it was so epic. Optimus Prime versus Megatron, their first fight. Like that the Goku versus Vegeta type fight. That's what I can compare it to. It was so good. It was so great, so fun, amazing scene. And then what happens then is that Optimus Prime wins the first fight, and and instead of killing Megatron, instead of killing Megatron, he shows them mercy by saying, "You are banished from Iacon." It's a testament of how it's very difficult to let go of a friend because of let's say a toxic friend. It's very difficult to let go of them because you've been friends for a while, you've gotten to know each other, and then you have to let them go because that's just how life is. Life goes on, people move on, people come and go, and now he decides to banish Megatron from the city of Iacon, which then Megatron says, "High Guard, follow me." So it's basically the Decepticons follow me instead of he's calling his troops to follow him to be banished with him, and thus the ending of the movie starts with with Optimus Prime showing the Matrix of Leadership. He raises up the Matrix of Leadership, and remember when I said the energon flow of the planet was on hold? Well, it got restored. The Matrix of Leadership did help restore the flow of energon, effectively giving every miner the the cog to transform. So everyone can transform now. So again, Sentinel Prime took away the cogs of the miners so that there will be people to mine energon for the quintessence for him. And that's very messed up. He made again. I'll use my wording again. He made slaves in this movie, guys. He made slaves. So after that, everyone the energon flow gets restored. Everyone gets their transform cog implemented into them. So they can all transform, and then the cinematic starts of the the Autobots and the Autobots following Optimus Prime, and of course, then the end of the movie before the credits, the line is "I am Optimus Prime." Of course, I am Optimus Prime, and then the credits roll, and then after the credits, there's not really much after the credits. So the after credits of this movie is just the Decepticons getting tattooed their logo into their certain parts of their body, like Megatron the chest, the Starscream the wings, and all that. It's basically the Decepticon origin story summarized in the after credits, and that was the end of the movie. Optimus Prime and Megatron going their separate ways, and starts before the war of Cybertron, which eventually leads to the Transformers we know today. So yeah, the movie is very good. I love the movie so much. And my my final conclusion to this movie is that it is people were saying it's the best Transformers movie. I've watched I haven't watched a lot of Transformers movies, but I did watch the five Bayverse movies, Bumblebee, Rise of the Beasts, and the very first G1 Transformers movie. I have watched the first Transformers movie, and I would say that this movie is better than the G1 Transformers movie because the writing was so good, the pacing was very fast, and I mean recency bias. I'm not gonna go into plot holes, but as a movie enjoyer, it was very enjoyable, and I recommend everyone who watches this video, if you watch this video, I recommend everyone to watch this movie because it's very amazing. You'll enjoy it with your family, enjoy it with your friend, or anyone you want to watch it with. I want you guys to enjoy this movie as much as you can because it is genuinely a very good movie. This is where the video ends, guys. So As standard YouTuber things go, so if you like the video, leave a like. If you want to comment down, if you want to comment something about the video, just put the comments down below. I'll be happy to read them. And I hope you have a very, very nice day. It is Skelehans ending his first SkeleTales.